Continue our coverage. We do want to bring you this story, though. Back here at home, the Reparations Task Force voted over the weekend on their final recommendations for the state.
The task force was created 2 years ago to analyze and determine the best way to repay African Americans for harm caused by discriminatory policies. Our political reporter Morgan Reiner joins us now with details. Morgan.
The Reparations Task Force did make their final decision, but it doesn't have any legal weight. They're going to hand over the recommendations to the legislature July 1st, and lawmakers will then determine if and how they want to turn it into law.
More than 100 people gathered in Oakland on Saturday to express frustrations over the impact slavery has had on African Americans.
We often talk about reparations and people say that we're getting a handout, but we've given this country, let alone the whole world, a handout for the last 200 years. No, 500 years. U.S.
Representative Barbara Lee, who was running for Senate, weighed in during public comment.
Reparations are not a luxury for our people, but a human right long overdue for millions of Americans. Millions of Americans. A promise of 40 acres and a mule made to formerly enslaved people over 150 years ago has yet to be filled.
In this 34-page document the Reparations Task Force approved, it outlines how much Black Californians who are descendants of slaves could be compensated. $13,600 each year for health harms, $148,000 for housing discrimination, $115,000 for over-policing. Depending on how long the recipient has lived in the state, that means a person could get up to $1.2 million.
The state of California will offer a formal apology on behalf of the people of California for the perpetration of gross human rights violations and crimes against humanity on African slaves and their descendants.
The task force also approved a formal apology they believe the state should provide, like the state has for other marginalized groups.
So who officially qualifies has been a big topic throughout these last years of meetings. It's lineage-based, descendants of slaves or freed slaves. Now, in its model, the task force estimates that there's less than 2 million people who could qualify, but that is still potentially billions of dollars.
So much work still to be done here, so many decisions to be made, but how does someone prove that they're eligible for these reparations?
Yeah, a complicated question, and to help answer that, the task force recommends that the legislature create a new agency dedicated to implementing the task force's recommendations that are adopted into law.
We'll see what happens next. Morgan Reiner reporting live from Sacramento. Morgan, thanks.